But we have a nostalgic effect from your youth that entire generations have. And that's tattooed in the brain. When you smell it again, it can be released. I can have the nostalgic effect. I'm in the Toro section or the outdoor section of Home Depot. I get the scent, and it gives me the Proustian effects, which slows down time. And according to P&G, gives me that FMOT, first moment of truth, just made the perception of that product better. Think of yourself as this, as a brand. Think of yourself as a beautiful woman. Or a not so beautiful woman, it's okay. Now, are you going to pour on the scent, or are you going to do a dab here, a little dab down there, a little dab will do you just enough, just enough to get you a little bit excited. That's what it's all about in a brand. You're not trying to throw your scent out there. You're actually just, it's your personal space. When you come into my personal space as a lady who uses perfume, I want you right here. When you want to be with me, then you can take a sniff of my perfume. In a store, you're looking for that. You're not throwing it out there. Even in an ad or even in your packaging, it's a very subtle release. We can control concentration nowadays. We used to not be able to. So the whole idea as a brand is to not pollute the air. They're saying, what about all these different scents being used, and what if they're in credit cards and packaging and such? That's a passive type of scent. If you have a lot of packages along the shelf, when I touch it, if you see our new book, when you touch it, that's when you get the release system. You don't get it by, permeating the purse or permeating the shelf. Your dog smells, the coffee smells, the print on the newspaper smells. You walk outside, there's a Chinese place over there, there's a garbage truck over here. The smell is inundating you all day long. So all we're doing is managing smell. That's the key. We're managing our environments. That's a key to answering an objection. So what is your scent policy? That's our ask. That's our question. What's your scent policy? Well, we don't have one. Well, good. So therefore, in a retail environment, you got beautiful marble, you got some great lighting, you got a great space here, we've got it navigated well, you got some nice people in some nice clothes, they got a little branding experience saying, hi, how are you, welcome to Hardee's. The point is that, frankly, what are you doing about the scent? Is that big stack of stuff over there that just came in that's right off the manufacturing floor, smells like plastic, bad plastic? That is your recent scent? Is that your environmental scent? So, you're gonna, everything smells? What's your policy? And are you managing your environment? Those are keys. Those are absolute keys to this. 1 in 1 million people, according to the Fragrance Materials Association, FMA, who on their website has the FDA study of 5 or 6 years, that 1 in 1 million complaints. 1 in 1 million. And those are primarily cosmetic, skin-related, and or environmentally related in a perfume counter area. And the other major complaint is, my coworker wears this stuff, it makes me ill. Now, probably it's the coworker, and the scent of the coworker is a tattooed brain kind of reaction. When I pick a color like yellow or orange, and I pick it for McDonald's, is that manipulation because I know that you immediately feel that it's cheaper? So I'll go into McDonald's because it's cheaper? Or I put a naked boy and girl on a Times Square billboard with a little bit of Speedos on. Is that manipulation? Or the little old lady in the Walmart who's handing you a piece of chocolate cake, and I touch it and I need it now and I buy it. Is that manipulation? Or a chiropractor? That's manipulation, yes, chiropractor. So let's talk about the sexes. Sex is important to everyone. As far as it goes, the whole idea of knowing that this is a messaging experience and knowing that we're using it as a message, it's really demographics, but it's psychographics. Dr. Hirsch last night, I think it was a table we were talking about, is personalized. They are personalized, scents are personalized. You have an experience with a scent, call it, you name it, mango, when you're 12 years old or 10 years old, and it's experiential. This is the difference, is that the more intense the experience, while you're smelling a smell, it tattoos on the brain. That smell is then, you've kept it for life. Then you smell that mango at 32 or 45 years old, and that Proustian effect comes right out in the brain. You get a picture, you get a feeling, an instinct. You all know this. And the point is, that, I believe, is the biggest marketing tool we have. The biggest marketing tool that we have is to look for Proustian effects or nostalgic effects that actually take people into When you go in, we all know the picture that we get when we have specific scents. We all know that. When you can tap that, we lose perception of time, we become pleasant, we go back to another time and place. So the bottom line is, I'm saying look at the sexes. We know that scent is innate from the beginning. How do we reproduce? Scent is a major part of reproduction. It's driven us. First of all, it helps us with survival, but it also helps to drive drive mankind and the population. Here's the answer to that, to when somebody says, I'm sensitive. First, everything smells. Nothing doesn't smell. So you're not sensitive just to smells. You're sensitive to certain smells at certain times. When you're highly emotional, it's worse. If you had a negative emotional experience and it is reintroduced to you, that scent is going to make you ill. That's a very possibility. Piet Baroun was a trailblazer, wrote a book in 1994 called Smell, the Secret Seducer. It was translated in 1997, and that's how I got into this. In 1997, I read that book as an entrepreneur in another business, design, and I said, this is marketing stuff. He says in his book, the lady was in an elevator for 2 hours, smelling a specific perfume. That negative, claustrophobic, terrible experience was ingrained and tattooed in her brain, and for the rest of her life, that'll just give her a hyper feeling whenever that comes, and a negative and a fearful feeling. And so therefore, everything smells, what I'm getting at. If everything smells, then frankly, sensitive people that sensitive to smells, we got to use smells that are pretty universal. Men on Viagra smell less, don't smell as well. Young people are growing their sense of smell, and the age of 30, they kind of say, is the primary smelling time for women and men. When you're older, it gets less. When you're neurotic or a high-strung person, or you're kind of emotionally labile, we call it, that kind of high-strung people are very sensitive to light, sound, and scent. Culturally, the Hispanics and the Asians and the Germans and Americans all grow up with likes and dislikes to certain scents. What I'm getting at is you have to understand this. And in your branding message, we call it the target, of course. You've got to look at your target and then identify what areas of this target come within the box. We all know what a cheap scotch and a good scotch is. Maybe we don't. Some of you maybe don't. The point is that you can get a $20 bottle of scotch at a $500 bottle of scotch. You can get cheap, bad scent, as Mr. Jones here says. You can get those synthetics, or you can get real scent. The point being is, whatever you're using, use the best.